Hello, dear listeners and friends here on Facebook Live at Cardiac Radio and also at Cardiac Radio in our stream, yes, in our app. And we are here live also for you at Cardiac Radio. You know we have an app and we have here the opportunity to be with you every day at 11 p.m. And it's been more than 120 days together. Today is day 22 of the 40 days with the Promised Consoler. This is day 22. The title is The Hindered Candidate. Chapter 37 from the book Aseema. Not yet in English, but the author, the spirit author, is Humberto de Campos, or Brother X, through the medium Chico Xavier. And we here have the very translation, thanks to the efforts of Carlos. We are here with you, be given an opportunity to learn more. Let us not forget, some people have been asking us, those who have entered very recently into understanding what we're doing, and I said, why we're doing this? Well, we're doing this because when Jesus was sent to the earth to be the guide and model, he said, I cannot say everything, but I'll send you the Promised Consoler, which will tell you everything and stay with you until the end of times. Do we need to be consoled? Yes. In the world that we live in, we do. Day in, day out, we know many people are suffering. They have anguishes, sorrows, difficulties. So these are unprecedented messages that were rescued by the Spirit author Humberto de Campos while he was studying in the schools of the gospel in the spiritual realm, learning things that are now possible to be revealed. Of course, all these books have been written through the hands of the medium Chico Xavier many years ago, decades ago. But right now, they're coming live in English at a critical time on the earth when we're being tested in our core values as human beings. And if we're true followers of the good news, we're revising through these texts where we are in that regard. This is chapter 37 of the book Aseema, okay? Book Aseema is the book, the original book where the message was published. Okay? How are you feeling, friends? Let us ask everyone and say hi to a beautiful community. Hello, Lea Severo. How are you? Hello, Adilson. How are you? Hi, Melissa. How is everything? Hello, Patrícia and Thiago. Welcome, welcome, friends. Hello, Ceissa. How are you? Hello, Sol. How are you? And hello, friends who are watching us. I'm not seeing your name, or watching us later on demand, either here on Facebook at Cardiac Radio or on the radio, yes, in the app, or we have three options. The YouTube channel at Cardiac Radio. Several options for you, for me, for everybody. And here we have this chapter. Hello, Elisete. Welcome. Where are you writing us from? Would you like to share? We just want to know, because we have this beautiful international community joining us, and we feel like united together in this beautiful current of positive thoughts and feelings right here, right? Ready? The hindered candidate. When the Master, Jesus, began the services of the celestial kingdom around the waters of Gennesaret, it was marked by indisputable triumphs in the aid of the afflicted. When Jesus mentioned his willingness to accept companions and apprentices, many people showed up, eager for novelty and intending to be a disciple. Wouldn't it be pleasant to follow that divine man who restored the health of the paralytic and opened new horizons to faith? Jesus' word was filled with love and spoke of an emerging kingdom where the afflicted would be comforted. His hands, as if struck with sublime light, distributed peace and bliss, good cheer and joy. To follow him would be a desired service. Due to that, great was the number of women and men who sought him daily. Pause for us. Humberto de Campos is revealing to us that in spite of the fact that Jesus was the Master and the Messiah and was doing great works through his own pathway, he was opening opportunities to multiply these works, accepting companions and apprentices. Do you think that call has ended because he's discarnated? Or is he to date inviting each one of us, each and every person in the world, to join in? And if he is inviting us to learn and to follow his footsteps, would you like, if you would like to join in, how are you expecting to follow through his teachings, to enter this discipleship? Let us observe, because this is about a specific type of candidate. Do you think you are a candidate, or do you feel already yourself in the pathway? It's up to you. Nobody will define it for you. You will define. And you see in this message that it doesn't depend on anybody else, not even on Jesus. It depends on you. You see, and as often and every day, it's been 22 days of happily surprises daily. Humberto de Campos leaves us astounded with the caringness of Jesus and at the same time the unawareness of everybody else. Okay? So many women and men used to seek him. They believed. Now let's observe. The many people who sought for Jesus, they believed in a new political order in the province. Perhaps important positions and significant remunerations would be open. Hopeful mothers sought to entrust their children to the Messiah of Nazareth. Young and old enthusiasts came from afar to put themselves at his service. For those who voluntarily introduced themselves, he would utter a friendly phrase. He would show a benevolent smile, and he would set a comforting gesture. Pause. Do you believe that this call, the teachings, the following of Jesus would be for the changes of political order? Question. Now, mothers would entrust, and then how would he receive them? It's so beautiful, right, Carol Correa? She is saying that what an extreme love of Jesus, and she's right, because he always has a friendly word, a benevolent smile, a comforting gesture. This is our guiding model. He's teaching us a new way, a new attitude, a new approach, new way of interacting with people. People come, and we often have this feeling like we have to put everything in order. I confess, for the longest time, I thought, well, we have to do, this is the way. And then Jesus teaches us a new way of being in our relationships. Friendly, benevolent, kind, right? An infinite spring of kindness, Carol is saying. You're right. A comforting gesture. It was thus that on a bright morning, when the Lord was resting for a few minutes in Levi's residence, a certain gentleman got off an ornate litter characterized by an extreme hurry. He was like hasty. The newcomer swiftly dealt with the objective that brought him there. He addressed the Christ directly. He wanted to be his disciple. He had heard of the new kingdom and wanted to be a candidate. Above all, the man clarified fluently it would be his honor to accompany the Master throughout all his preaching and teaching. Ooh, let us observe Jesus' calmness, kindness, comforting attitude, and the anxious, hasty, hurried approach of the candidate. First of all, there is no match, right? So sometimes we can pick up on the people's intention by the way they behave, not by the words. It's like physicians. When we train physicians or dentists or health practitioners in general to take the history of the patient, we say, observe the body language. Don't rely upon what they say alone, because first, often patients are not aware of their emotions. Yeah, a lot of it is unconscious. And second, sometimes they're ashamed, they don't want to disclose. So sometimes there is a patient on the dentist chair, and you ask, are you afraid? And they're holding their hands like this and say, no. But the body language says, oh yeah. So if you are a good dentist, you're gonna take which information? The no that they said, or the body language? The body language. You're not gonna dispute to say, oh, but your body language. But you're gonna say, you're gonna talk to the patient. You're gonna give them something that comforts them, that makes them feel more relaxed. Sometimes a good laughter. And this is the same for us in our daily lives. It's an opportunity for us to observe the body language of people, because that's where we express our emotions. They may say, how are you doing? Oh, I'm great. But you can see they are avoiding. They don't want you to ask. So it's not that great, because when it's great, It's like President Obama's great, very relaxed, very laid back, in spite of the most difficult job ever after being a mom. Oh yeah, that's a sure thing. No presidency can top the demands of being a mother. That's a sure thing, right? Right, Enilda? Welcome, Enilda. Thank you for your kindness and for your love. And hello, Jussara. How are you? Working hard, I bet. And Rita, thank you for your kindness and for joining forces in this constructive mental current. Friends, Jesus does not ever dispute with people. You see it. People can talk and then let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Right? Dun, 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 let it be, dun, 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 let it be. We need to learn this mode. Jesus let people be. We are not going to change. Emotions cannot be changed. Sometimes people are so anxious, they're so frustrated. They project their frustrations on others, sometimes on a whole group. And they throw you a hot potato. And you're like, oh my gosh, I need to do something. What did Jesus do? Let it be. Listen. Stay calm. Don't buy into the person's anxiety. Pray. Sometimes not saying anything. Sometimes just saying to the person, observe this, observe that, and the other. Sometimes people come to me and ask, Vanessa, how is the Spiritist movement in the English-speaking language? And I say, fantastic. Why? Because there are many people around the world who are doing great works. They are Brazilians, Americans, British, Australians, South Africans, and New Zealand's, and it doesn't matter. For us Brazilians, or Americans, or these, it doesn't matter your current nationality. What matters is the work is being done. We're not going to transform anything from on the outside in. If we believe that this is the case, we need to read these texts over and over again, because Jesus was never counting how many people were joining in. And we'll see in this message, okay? Look at this. Let us see. Then the prophet, you see, Humberto de Campos now is the prophet. And he uses these adjectives because he's showing to us that in his approach to the person, there is a particular intention. So the prophet gazed at the bright clothing of the men and asked, do you really accept the testimonies of the apostolate? You see, Jesus is loving and kind, but he's truthful. He doesn't sugarcoat. And that's why many people turn their backs to him. Because he's kind and loving and compassionate and consoling, but he's truthful. A combination that is yet to be seen. Because often people are either very kind or very truthful. But we need to learn how to merge both. Kindness with truth. And make a beautiful cupcake. Yeah. It's going to be a cupcake like truth, cake, and the icing, kindness. Ooh, delicious, calorie-free. Actually, this is the type of cupcake that would certainly make us lose a lot of weight. the weight of what? Our ignorance, right? Because truth really pushes away the calories of ignorance because they can be very heavy. And the topping is delicious. And you know that the delicious, the sweetness, the kindness. And this is Jesus offering to all of us cupcakes of truth topped with kindness. You can't beat that because he's fantastic. So he looks at the clothes of the man. You see, he's teaching us body language. With the clothes, and he sees the mismatch. How often we are incoherent. How often? We need to think about this. We need to strive for coherence. Mentor Joseph has always been saying, remember, Jesus is a master of coherence. He wants us to align words with feelings, thoughts with actions. We need to strive to be more unified within ourselves, and the only way is inner knowledge. We need to do this inner knowledge, this inner journey. Okay, do you really accept the testimonies of the apostolate? Do you, friends? Yes, Jesus is very tempting, as Humberto de Campos says. Oh, beautiful. But there is a testimony. There is a price. What is it? And the young man courteously says, perfectly. Then the master, after a long pause, let us observe this. It's interesting, Humberto de Campos gives us this behind the scenes. Imagine they are talking and then Jesus gives a pause. In an educational approach, he is in that silence giving the man an opportunity to rethink his answer. This is a beautiful technique. To use silence wisely, to give people opportunity to reflect, right? So, then the master said, today in Capernaum, we have 2 dying madmen in a shed next to Peter's house, demanding brotherly cooperation. Can you help us to help them? So it's as if he was telling you, Vanessa, friends of here, the Facebook Cardiac Radio, you want to follow me? I have 2 people who are psychiatrically ill, and I need you to go there, visit them now. What are you going to say? Oh, but Jesus, it's 11 p.m. Oh, you know, I can't because right now I have this. Oh, I can't because... So let's think, because this is precisely how he feels the dialogue. The young man frowned and said, I would not hesitate, but... There's always like a but. I am Fasur's foreman, head of Herod's house. I hold this title with veneration. To a page boy like me, such a service would not be adequate. The nobles could identify me. Criticism would not forgive me. And perhaps I could not fulfill it. How many people are like this? They're like, I can't do this because what are people going to think of me? Yes, I know that person wants me to help, but yeah. You know, it happened to me. I remember many years ago. People came to the Spirit side of Baltimore. And they came, they asked for help, they were in the spiritual service. And one day I met them in a Costco store. They said hi, but they have family members. They didn't want the family members to know how we knew each other, because they told me later. We understand. But are you going to stop helping people because they're going to avoid you later? Because they're going to change their way of being? It has to happen, friends. One day or another. Brazil today is a more open country. Not totally though. Open country to Spiritism. Because generations risked their reputation. In my own family, we have generations, till my grandmother, my mom, even mine. I remember when I went to school, I was 7 in Rio de Janeiro. And they got to know I was a spiritist. And this girl said, "Oh, you're a witch." You know, nowadays I would feel like a compliment. Back then, I didn't know exactly what it meant. I was young. You know, 7 years old that time. Nowadays are very different. Kids are much smarter nowadays. I wasn't that. I couldn't pick up very fast. But it was still in me because I could feel the vibrations. So for you and I, it's the question, when is this going to change everywhere else in the world? When our generations have the courage to do what we have to do, share what we have to share, in spite of the repercussions. And many people don't embrace it vividly and openly because they are afraid. What are people going to think? Whatever. It's their problem, not mine. But what about my job? Well, you find another job. That's not a good job. But Vanessa, don't ask me. You talk to Jesus, not to me. Because Jesus is the one who is advising us to do so. So, Jesus was not angry. He was not angry. Humberto de Campos made sure to tell us that in spite of the avoidance of the man to his invitation, he was not angry. A lesson for us. Contemplating the surprised listener, Jesus kindly proposed something else. 2 orphans are at Joanna's house, waiting for a caring hand to protect them, perhaps. With so many prestigious relationships, wouldn't you be able to lead them to edifying destiny? They are girls in need of sound protection. And the novice, scandalized, exclaimed, "Oh, I cannot. I explain Ezekiel's texts and Jeremiah's treatises outside Jerusalem. Documentation of illustrious priests approves of sacred culture. To an interpreter of the Testament like myself, I would not fit the needs of these despised children," as we see. Without altering himself, the master reminded the men. A dying paralytic was taken to Philip's house. He was brought from great distance, pleading for impossible cure. He is tired and afflicted. Philip remains absent on a mission of relief. If you give him 2 days of devoted assistance, you practice noble action. And the young man said, "It's impractical. I am an inspector of the provisions of the Leviticus. In that capacity, I would be compelled to isolate the sick in the valley of the unclean. The measure is imperative if he has ingested impure meats." Let's observe this. The Lord smiled and thanked him. And Jesus is not faking here. He's not a fake master like a diplomat. No, he's the real deal. He is the diplomat of the heart. Yeah, he is kind and loving, and he is really walking the talk. He's not upset. Why is Jesus not upset? Because he's Jesus? No. Because he's understanding. Because he knows he's gonna get there. You know, everybody has their own time. As a good educator, he gave the opportunity. And then what? Right? But this listener insisted, and then Jesus asked, "What are your intentions after all?" So the man replied, "To ensure future representation of the coming kingdom." The Nazarene gave him a translucent look and said, "What is a translucent look?" Transparent, like sincere. Look what Jesus says. You came to the wrong place. Naturally, your car should go to Jerusalem, where all those who distribute well-paid positions are concentrated. You came to the wrong place. But I reiterate the solicitation, the man said. I want to put myself in the new order. And in spite of the imperative that transpired from that voice, you see, the man was insistent. He was very demanding. But Jesus finished very calmly. These are body languages, emotional lessons for us. People insist and they talk, they throw hot potatoes in our hands. Stay calm. Let it be. Tonight that's the song. Let it be, let it be, let it be, let it be. Go on your way. Do not insist on it. We really are in need of companions for the ministry. However, you have too many titles that block your way. And the gospel needs unrestrained hearts that are ready for the necessary assistance in the name of our Father. Unrestrained hearts. That's the key today. Is your heart unrestrained? Or do you serve when everything is well? When it's not well, you stay home and you forget about people who are suffering more than you? Do you have inhibitions? Inhibitions in the sense of conditions? Intentions that are true hidden agendas? He's calling for companions of unrestrained hearts. That's why this message goes from the inside out. We're never gonna conquer people. It's not a movement for the masses. It's a one-on-one dialogue. Jesus the Master did not put the whole population of the earth together and preached at once. He didn't enforce. He didn't hypnotize. He did no magical tricks. He knows that human nature needs to untie its heart knot by knot. Some knots we have in our hearts are connected to centuries of conditionings. And it's going to take a while. Don't be discouraged. Don't be discouraged. The reader of the texts of Ezekiel laughed out loud and looked at the Messiah with unmistaken sarcasm, as if he met a madman and left without understanding. This is the master of all times, and this is the reaction of the man after those kind invitations. Do you expect that we are going to say these things, Facebook, share here and there, and tomorrow everybody's going to say, oh, I love this message? They may even love it, but they are not ready. The question is, are we ready? How many restraints do I still have in my heart? Am I free? Are you free? Do you consider yourself an unrestrained heart? What are your inhibitions? This is a moment of reality for us. What are our inhibitions? Some people say, but Vanessa, my work pushes me to travel. I have children to care for, and I can't follow Jesus because of my family, because of my work, because of my this, that, and the other, my health. Okay, many inhibitions. Jesus is not going to be upset. But certainly we'll be missing the boat. Okay? We'll be missing the boat. So, that's a deep question for us now. We're not going to say anything any longer. But we're going to be asked to meditate on this. What are our possible inhibitions? We need to help people one-on-one. We're being called to serve. We're being called to be unrestricted in our loving movement, the flow. What do we need to do? What are the ties we need to untie in the flow of love in our hearts to really follow through this message of the promised consoler? Let's meditate on this. And when we come back, God willing, tomorrow, right, Julija, right, Angelita, right, Louise, and all of the friends who are watching later, we hope to clarify some of it and be less restricted. If you're already unrestricted, keep inspiring us all. If you do, let us free ourselves in the next hours, in the next days, the next years, the next centuries, so we can come, because Jesus is calling us. He's saying, I need companions. Do you want to come?